From the Kenya 360 studios in Washington, I'm Wairimo Wamburu with a highlight of newsmaking events from Kenya and diaspora. This is The Week in Focus. Welcome. And in other election-related coverage, much has been said about the diaspora's right to vote. But what about our right to be voted for? Quite a few Kenyans living abroad have thrown their hats into the ring as candidates for various electoral positions, including that of the presidency, come March 2013. Kenya 360's Bianca Agoki caught up in Dallas with one such candidate, Jimmy Onkangi, vying for the Kitutu Chache South parliamentary seat shortly before he left for Kenya.
Because I know you've been in the States for a while. How are you handling your campaign between being here and being in Kenya? How are you dividing your time and campaigning with your people and being in touch with your base if you're basically here?
I think that's an interesting question because everywhere I go, that's the first question I'm being asked. In fact, I consider that one of the most frequently asked question, because it's very hard to run a campaign when you are not physically there. But we are living at a world that has more technology. Now we are having Facebook, Twitter, and all these other stuff. Things which are happening right in Mosocho, I can be able to know those things right now. All you have to do is Google, go to Facebook, and get those information. So it is kind of a cumbersome job, but we do our campaigns. We do make frequent visits. We have agents on the ground who are going to the grassroots, and I think that's working effective for us. As a matter of fact, I just came back about 3 weeks ago. We had very successful functions, church functions that we had to attend. So in the end, it is all about how you present yourself to the people. And I think our campaign is doing a good job on that. We are capturing a lot of youths and a lot of people here in the diaspora. They are very excited about our candidacy. I mean, to reality, so that's all I can say at this moment.
Okay, so what sets you apart from any other candidate that's out there? Why would you want people to vote for you, really?
You know, well, one of my centerpiece of my campaign is basically to make people dream, to make people reach their potential. We want to see if you, for example, Bianca, what you want to do is to be a journalist. My job is to make sure that you reach your potential. And that's what we are trying to make our people do, dream. And when you dream and realize your dream and have faith, and then you will be able to do what you want to do. If you lose focus on what you're doing, I think realizing your dream is impossible. And that is basically the thing that I want to separate myself from my opponents.
Okay, so what I'm saying from here is you're starting from the groundwork, from the grassroots levels. And just one last question I wanted to ask about is because you've lived in America and you know that security over here is very good. We feel very comfortable. I can drive around and go to Walmart at 4 a.m. in the morning without... I won't feel like I'm threatened. Even as a woman, I can drive anywhere. What do you think are the first steps that we need to take as Kenyans to beef up the security for people to just feel like they can walk around? Because I believe there are jobs that people can do 24 hours in Kenya, but now you can't do it because you don't feel comfortable walking out of your house past maybe 6 p.m. or something. So your office, what would you do to beef up security?
Definitely, and I think you very much know the roles of members of parliament are changing. They're actually strengthening. Basically, security is going to come down from the county level. But my vision of what I envision about security, because you have to have a security if you want to have, invite investors. You have to make sure that their properties are secure. You know, there's this thing that says that when you have a problem, like maybe they have been in, something, a breakup anywhere, you call the police, they tell you to put gas. So that is something that I want to phase out. We want to be able to make sure that our people have a local number that they can call, and our security forces, which are paid by the government, now they will be through the county. They will be able to respond, and that money is going to be your money. The one that are investing in Kisii, because we have so many investors in Kisii. In fact, Kisii County is one of the biggest counties in Kenya, if you happen to know that. So the money that is going to be coming to the county, you have to have somebody who will be able to go to the governor and tell them this is what we need to do, because leadership is telling people what need to be done. You have to be able to direct people and say, this is the best thing that we need to do after you've done your consultations. So what we have seen and having lived here, whereby security is, I can sleep in my house, comfortably, thinking, knowing that everything is fine. I want the same thing to happen to my brother in Kenya. I want the same thing to happen to my neighbor in Kenya. So those are small things that we need to do that will bring change and will make people see a different, politicians from a different angle than what they have been seeing before. It's not going to be game as usual. There's change that is coming. But that change, you and me, it has to begin from ourselves. We want to be the leaders. We want to show people that we are leading, and we're leading in a good example.
I'm pretty sure that would all support our young upcoming. There's no way we can do change in Kenya unless the rest of us who speak. We can't just sit in our houses and when we're having cocktails and stuff and talk about change. We have to go out there and do it. So thank you, Mr. Jimmy Okangi, and I wish you the best of luck.
Some of the declared candidates for the House on the Hill include Ms. Kingwa Kamenchu from the UK, Professor George Wajakoya, US, Mr. Isaac Kiniti, US, and George Mumbo, also from the US. In other news, while Kenya Airways has been dogged by employee strikes, including a current one in the works, another national carrier just north of the Kenyan border is making headlines after its acquisitions of one of the most sought-after jets in the industry today. Ethiopia became the second country in the world after Japan and the first in Africa to acquire the 787 Dreamliner. This after Ethiopian Airlines took delivery of the first of 10 787 Dreamliners purchased at a cool $200 million apiece from the Seattle-based Boeing company. Our reporter Charlene Boro takes us on a quick visit to the Everett, Washington plant, where the 787 Dreamliner's journey began way back in 2005.
So beautiful day here in Washington State, Seattle, the home of Boeing. As many of you may know or may not know, Boeing is known to manufacture a lot of planes, and one of them being the 787 Dreamliner. The 787 Dreamliner, it was meant to be produced or to come out on the 7th of August 2007, but it's 2012 now, and they just produced it. So this is also a big moment for Boeing. And Ethiopia is the second country after Japan to have bought this 787 Dreamliner, and this is actually a great achievement for Ethiopia. Right here we can see that Boeing is right in front of us. This is where the home of all the manufacturers of all the planes. Boeing employs everybody from all over the world, engineers, and I cannot even name half of the people who work there. And with that said, you can also find yourself some Kenyans in there. So Kenyans are everywhere in the world, and Boeing is definitely not the exception. So we just got here. You can see all these different planes, and they're just here. They're not ready for passengers to come in. See, they're still doing their testing, but I don't know if you can see very far, just far in the distance. The 787, it's finally been branded for Ethiopian Airlines. This is actually really, really great. Makes me excited to see this. And a little bit about the 787 Dreamliner. It's made out of carbon fiber, and if you don't know this, carbon fiber is a lighter material, and this means that as the plane is flying, it will use less jet fuel. And this is good for the environment. Hey, we have to save this planet. This is the 787 right before it's handed over to the owners, to the buyers, and before it actually gets its first passengers. Putting in the name and branding it, that's the final stage to make sure that it's ready to go. A lot of countries are discovering Africa, and Africa is the next big thing. Emirates have actually come up with a few more flights that actually go to Africa. And this means that a lot more people are visiting Africa, a lot more people are going back home to visit their family. And it's kind of like back in the day when Mombasa used to be, you could only go once in a while because it wasn't really that cheap, as you may call it. So that meant less people would go, and it wasn't that cheap. After, they started bringing in more buses, a lot more people started going, and that means the more buses there were, the cheaper it was. This is kind of the same thing. This is great. So there you have it. You've seen it firsthand. You've seen them raw, right before the passengers get into them. You've seen them before they've been taken to their buyers, and hopefully Kenya Airways will be one of those buyers that come and buy their planes from Boeing here in Washington. Reporting for Boeing in Seattle, Washington, this is Charlene Buru, back at you at the studio.
Thank you, Charlene. We'll be right back.